So it appears we are live to the Lion Connection. So, this is my first show, my first broadcast. It's going to take a little bit of time to get some things worked out, such as like equipment, real stuff that we're going to need to do this right. But I figured I'd come on here and introduce myself. And I'm trying to get the lighting and things good, or I don't know. You guys tell me. So I'll wait a few minutes, see if we get a couple other people on. I haven't heavily promoted the show because I kind of want to work out all these kinks and bugs and get to the point where we have some continuity going on and it's an enjoyable show. Maybe some music, some lights and stuff, but I kind of wanted to just introduce myself. Now, some of you may have seen me or heard me. I've been on some shows. Mostly what I do is I've been receiving contact for now it's like 6.5 years since beginning of 2014. Had a lot of experiences, whether it be straight contact with messages, images, code. I see Doug's on, Julia's on. Hey guys. And basically what I'm going to do is we'll break it up into pieces. There's so much material. We can't do it all in one show. We'd have to have like a 48-hour marathon. But what we'll do is we'll break it up into chunks. We'll make it light. I'd like to make the show into also where we talk about other things, current events, things that are happening in related or correlating with the contact. Again, I haven't heavily promoted the site. I want to get everything worked out. It's kind of a test run. But the good news is we can go over the things that we want to talk about. We can go over I don't have to be at the whim of someone else's show or waiting for a spot. So I'm going to wait on here just a few more minutes, see if anybody else pops on, because I've noticed that the couple of tests that I have done on the show, just little things, they popped up to where overnight I would have like 600, 700, 800 views on, and I'm not even doing anything. Like, I guess everyone's off because of the coronavirus and they're home and they're like, who's this crazy guy? And let's go ahead and watch this. But my thing is not going to be like, let's talk. I mean, every show just about you go on, you're like, let's talk about the coronavirus. Let's talk about the coronavirus. And I really don't want to go into any of that. I'm sure you don't want to go into it either. You hear it all day long. We'll go into cool stuff, like besides my contact stuff. We'll go into some archaeology. We'll go into ancient structures or new discoveries. We'll go into space-related news and things that are going on. Like recently, there's the Comet Atlas out there. I think tonight, or was it last night or it's tonight, like Mars, Jupiter, and Venus align. Just little side note things, fun things. And we'll also, of course, heavily correlate into the contact. Now, I haven't had contact since my last contact date. Well, before I even go into that, let me tell you kind of like what happened. So this kind of So you understand the process. So I don't receive any. I don't go into like a seance. I don't go into like nothing against all these other people. Like I don't know who is really getting what and who's not. I can only speak to what I have and what I get. But some people say, oh, they channel or they burn a candle at midnight or I'm joking, or they hold hands and they, you know, I'm just going to tell you, I get encrypted messages along with code. That code can be a foreign language. It could be, that's majority of it is Latin. It could be Morse code. It could be a lot of binary code. I also get images. I also have real sightings. I also have things that happen or I'm told before they happen. And then when they do happen, I have the proof of that time gap of like, wow, that it may be like 3 months later and it's to the T. And I'm like, whoa, that is exactly what they said was going to happen, happened. So it's been going on for so long. What I do is I do it in chronological order. As soon as I receive contact, I literally will mark it in my my ledger that I received contact. I actually break it down in real time as it happens, and I can actually communicate and ask questions there's a window of time, and I don't know what that time is. Sometimes it's 5 minutes. Sometimes it's up to a couple hours before a window of direct ongoing communications, and then it'll stop. And sometimes it may be a day before there's a response. Over the data, over the course of 6.5 years, what I've concluded thus far, especially with the more data I get, the more I can conclude, is that based upon where you're at on the planet, when you receive communications, there are windows that open and there are windows that close based on the seasons and based upon the alignment of what stars are above you. A contact has told me also that based upon the intervals of our sun or their suns, because every star is, we know, is a sun. Well, we have the sun. It's called the sun, but every star has a different name, but a star is a sun. I don't know what you know, what you don't know. The time you view this, we'll break down galaxies, solar systems, all that kind of jazz, so we can all be on the same page, because it gets complex. It even gets complex for myself, even with all the data, because not every race let me digress. I get many races. I don't just get a race that contacts me. I get, I think I'm up to 27 or 28 different races. Some good, some bad, some neutral. But there is a continuity through them all. For one, Latin is a universal language that is used in the cosmos. Maybe not in the entire universe, but definitely within this galaxy and part of another galaxy, the Andromeda Galaxy. Latin is used. Binary code is definitely used throughout the Milky Way galaxy, and definitely through a part of the Andromeda Galaxy. A lot of what you think you know, or I know, or anyone knows, it's based upon, it all started when I started having these epiphanies, what I call epiphanies. People will call them downloads. I think out there on the internet, some people get these like flood of information, that all of a sudden you'll get information that's separate from contact, where all of a sudden I'll know things that I shouldn't know, whatever I'm researching or studying or thinking about. And this epiphany would give me 5 minutes or 10 minutes where I'll just start writing. And then I'll start getting contacts saying, yes, that's correct, or no, that's not correct. And that happened in the beginning in like 2013. I was like, you know what? I got really sick and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm going to start writing. And I have a lot of theories and ideas about stuff, of course. And I can go out there. I mean, I'm a pretty open-minded guy. I'm a straight shooter. Black and white. But I got some gray area where I'll I'll break it down and I'll say, I have this theory or I got this idea. So I came up with what I call my pie theory. And basically with the universe, it's kind of like a pie. It's a pie grid, like a pizza pie, like slices. And so you have it's kind of mixed with, ancient archaeology and ancient history. And there is extraterrestrial and there's a religious aspect to it. Anything outside of this planet or claims to be from whatever you believe in or whatever you think, if it didn't come from Earth it's extraterrestrial. I mean, bottom line. So whatever you're into, if it's not about and organically on the earth, then so most religions extraterrestrial in nature, because they're not, they may have been written, stuff was written and translated, and there's all these translations and all these people and all these ideas, just like the social media. But a lot of the works, especially Contact, has stated that sorry, my chart keeps going down. A lot of the works have been polluted on the earth. A lot of the books, and that's because this planet's been under basically control for a long time. Sometimes one team has the ball and sometimes the other team has the ball for thousands of years. And we're ending an age before a new age begins. And they call it the final battle of kings. They call it this is the end of an age before the new age begins. So I'm just kind of giving you a broad stroke out there of kind of like what I think, because I could be wrong about stuff, but a lot of my stuff I'm not going to tell you. Well, I'll tell you what I think and feel, but whatever the contact is, that's what they say. Now, there's some contact that gives deception. Now, there's some contact that speaks truth. That's for you to decipher based upon this journey that we're going to start on to go through these. And here's one of them. I'm just going to give you like a little taste of like how my style. So basically, I'll get contact, right? And basically, I'll give you this book so you can see. This is like I just got a blank book. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this all in order, by date, by time. I'm going to do it in order. I'm just going to keep going, and whatever it is, it is. This is So basically, when you open it up, the first page is going to be just dates. And it goes on and on. And these dates are what I call my the master list of contact. And I say 1111. I know there's a lot of new age, like 1111. That means everyone says bliss and you're great, you're good, everything's gonna be wonderful. 1111 could mean a lot of things. 1111 can be good. Sometimes 1111 is not great. And it all depends on who's the messenger and what the message is. But prior to contact, I was getting a lot of 1111 dreams. That's all it would be my dreams. It would just show up. This is before contact. This is before I started, because I get a lot of contact at 1111. Not always, but especially in the beginning. 1111, 1111, or the codes would come in 1111 or 111. But I would start getting these dreams, and there was nothing in these dreams other than I would just see the numbers 111 or 1111 in like white on black, and that's it. I would wake up and I'd be like, okay, that was weird because that just keeps happening. And then all of a sudden I would be like, every time I look at my watch or phone or I'm somewhere, all of a sudden I'm just like, this is before social media. This is before everyone started talking about it. This is back, we're going back, almost 7 years. It would just see it all the time. And I just would be like, why is that? Like every time, no matter how I even try to psych myself out not to and I would still be like 1111. I'm like, what's going on here? And then it changed into some other numbers and stuff, but mostly the 1111. And at the time I was, like I said, I was writing my pi theory of the universe because I like ancient stuff and I like cool stuff. Like this is actually a meteor from space. Isn't that pretty cool? It's pretty awesome. It's the real deal. My dad gave it to me. Story is, this came down in like the late 50s, or early 60s. And, it was snow. It was, I'm originally from, New York, and it came down into the woods and it was melted. My dad picked it up after, a while, and then kept it. He had another piece, but I don't know where it is, but he gave that to me. That's pretty cool, right? But anyways, so, so I'll write it down, and then I will get the message. Now, the message, if it's in Latin or in another, if it's in, sometimes, it used to take me forever to break this stuff down because I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't organized. I didn't have it in order. I wasn't writing it all. And I would go, oh, wow, what does this translation mean? Or what's this? I don't understand what this is. And now I've gotten to where I can translate with modern technology. And also I have a ton of books. I love collecting old books, and I just have tons and tons of books. I read everybody's stuff, whether they're really, some of them are telling the truth or they're not. That's not for me to judge. I'll just go through the material to go, wow, Contact says this, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And in these books, this one guy or girl who wrote this book, A, B, C, D, and maybe G isn't it. So this book must have some validity because it is definitely matching with my stuff. Some are not matching, but there are hints or golden nuggets, I would call it, in there that I would say they have enough they must know something. And then some are just like, hey, maybe it's true. It's not for me to judge, but I'm like, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool read. Like there's some, I've even read from, what was it? Howard Stern had that, Martin Riley, whatever. He had a book. I even read some of his book, The Coming of Top 10. And it's basically a book about Ebens. And that have come into this system. And I guess this guy, he was getting contact since he was a kid. But who is it for me? Because my experiences that I'm going to share with you are going to be like, nah, this is crazy. But after a while, you're going to be like, yeah, something's going on here. And either someone has a multi-million-dollar production and they can predict the future, and they can also spend 7 years messing with this guy. Or some of this stuff has got some validity in it. There's truths in here. I've come a long way in knowing what it is I'm actually receiving. In the beginning, when you get hey VJ, in the beginning you get contact and you're just like, what is this? Because you have nothing to base it off. There's nothing to reference. Think about it like this. Anything you've ever watched on TV, a lot of the jokes, or you watch a movie, it'll be based off another movie or another book or some writing, and you're like, oh, ha ha ha, inside joke, and you're like, oh, that's so funny and clever how they did that. But some of this contact's so original, you can't really base it off of anything other than some things that they directly say, or it correlates to something, but it's original in itself. So then it takes years of data to be able to go, oh, that off of, because 4 years ago I got, and then you start going, and it all depends on what race you're talking with. And there are deceivers out there. There are races that want to do harm to us. There are races that want to help us. And there are races that don't care either way, just to colonize and conquer. So, I know I'm rambling. So, back to pi, right? So I keep bringing up pi, because that's where my epiphanies were happening. I was writing, I would just get this information. My camera's showing in reverse. Yeah, so check this out. First time, don't know. So I'm going to get equipment and figure this out, because I'm like really computer literate. No. Where I'm going to be able to get it to where it's like flip, so I can have an overhead cam and you could actually go through the book with me. And that way, you can actually see it for you. I'm going to show it to you, but like if I open the book and I'll show you an image, for example, you're going to see an image. So it doesn't matter if it's flipped so much as, like here's like a cool space shot, right? That's cool, right? But if I show you the words, they're going to be all flipped. I have to get the equip. I don't know what I'm doing. And what I'm going to do is I will shortly know what I'm doing, and then be able to have it so you guys can view it correctly. And that way you'll enjoy it better, because it's hard enough reading English backwards. No less if I start whipping out Latin and code. And it's a really bad, but I wanted to go out and at least get this started. We have a dialogue, and we'll grow. And we'll talk about a lot of stuff. We'll talk a lot of contact stuff. If it relates to anything in current events and I have recent contact, I'm gonna be like, say like the last time I'll bring it up, but like this virus thing that's going around and all this stuff. Well, there is some contact that I have that's recent that kind of points a finger at some of that, and we'll bring it up and we'll talk about it. But I'm not going to go into these hocus pocus mystery, like, because it could be interpreted any, but I want you to start seeing the data in order and knowing who I am, and like maybe some of you guys might crack some things that I overlooked. I might not. And said, hey Alex, remember like a bunch of shows ago you said da 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 da. Well, I was thinking about it because I do a lot of research myself. You might know some research, or you might know some things, and you'll go, oh, and maybe something will piece together even more. So basically, Contact told me about 2 months ago, I need to start talking about this. I'm like, I was threatened a long time ago about talking, and that's why I did a couple things, like I was on Coast for a little bit, like here and there, and I did some like local, like what I'm doing, but better than what I'm doing, but like shows, and they give me some time to do things, but there's never really enough time to like explain everything and go through everything, right? And basically, I feel rushed. I feel like I'm on someone else's kind of property and turf, and then other people come on, and it just turns into this, I just want my own thing. You either believe me or you don't. You either watch it or you don't. It's kind of like my own sanity. But it's a lot of cool stuff. I will say there is a lot of cool stuff that I have that a lot of people just don't have. And, will I ever publish and all this? I've got enough to really like publish at least 2 books in a journal. If something, I just want it done right. I just know that now that I've been given green lighted to really go over this, because believe me, back in the day I tried, and oh boy, was I threatened. I was threatened on many levels. I've been on a show where the productions were shut down, literally, like wouldn't stop getting taken off the air. Personal calls threatened. We'll see. Maybe I get a call. And I even got in contact where it said that I needed to shut up, basically. So we'll see. We're in the time frame in the window of spring. Those tend to be more positive beings. I would say part of a well, this is something that correlates with a lot of other people. There is a Galactic Federation of Light. There is a Dark Fleet. There's a council. There's a Council of 12. There's a Council of 9. There's a Council of the Iridian Council. There's many races. There are many alliances. So yeah. So let's see. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. They couldn't even start the show from the malfunctions, which they said they never experienced before. Yeah, so I got on this one show, and this was what, I don't know, it was like 5 years ago, and literally every day for, I think it was like 3 days in a row, they never had experience. Their computers got all fried. They literally had to get new equipment. Their show was shut down repeatedly, over and over. I started getting contact messages that were relating to, like, we'll go into that, but it was nuts. And so, but again, I was still green. I'm still green, but I know a lot more than what I did then. And so now I have to, here it is in a nutshell, guys. And I'll just tell you. Here we go. So a lot of these pictures behind me. Oh, this is my office, by the way. See, I'll just kind of give you a little pan around. I just set it up. It's cool, right? You got the ships, and you got pictures. I got like a table desk that I work off of, and I got bookcases and all kinds of stuff. Oh yeah, and they got some space shots up there. So images are supposed to be like a really bad thing, by the way, in the realm of like, I don't even know anybody, honestly, or even people who receive contact, or like these guys who have had these experiences. They may get an experience like an abduction scenario, or they may have a sighting, or they have a communication, but it's like one race, and it's always like one race or two races. So I guess in the law of the universe, just like Latin is one of the languages throughout the cosmos, well, in this local sector of like the Milky Way and part of Andromeda, I guess images are kind of like a no-no. You're not supposed to have images. For whatever reason, there are laws on Earth and courts and all this stuff. There's law in the universe, and that law is governed by a council. And then there's a king of kings, and there are sides. And I was told that that's why this is called the Lyra connection. I'm from Lyra. I'm from the House of Kings, the House of Nicholas. This is what they say. They say I'm a prince. I have a brother who is also here among us on the earth. I was created 1,000 years before my body. I was sent here for this time, for the sounds nuts, but it's all turning. This is this end of age, this final battle of kings, and we were sent here at this time. I was actually supposed to go back many times. I've been there many times, so this is what I've been told. But when you come to the earth, you're basically wiped. For whatever reason, something with the earth wipes your memory. It's kind of like Men in Black where they flash that thing in. It's kind of like that for your soul, or when you come back, or how it works. I don't know. There are rules though. I do have some of these rules based upon conversations with Contact. Like for there's one called the Rule 18. Because I was asking about medical and how long people live and this and that and these beings and Rule 18 is the advanced medical scientific facilities. Your body can last for 2,000 years, and that's everything has a rule. I wish I could know what Rule 17 was or Rule 19, but I do have a few rules that I've gotten out of them because there's also rules of what they can tell you and what they can't tell you. But I guess basically because I'm who I am, I get a lot more than your average person, I guess. I don't know, because I'm still looking for other people like me, but it's really hard to find anyone with my kind of situation, except I call him my brother, and he's like my best friend, but and even his is not that much. Like I get a lot. I guess I'm the person who's the scriber. I'm supposed to write and put this all together. And there's been some bumps in the road along the way because I was supposed to go. This is not me. This is what they're off the coast of Bermuda. There's a base for thousands of years under the ocean. That's Lyra's foothold under the ocean, and basically it's kind of like not a gas station. It's a base, because there's certain times when there can be travel, and there's certain times of communications. So as we go in, like I said, we're going into spring. That window is open with the Lyran start of the Lyran communications, going through the summer, and usually in the fall and winter, I get more of these dark contact races and different, and there are a lot. I mean, there's insectoids are real, reptilian is real, Syrian, Lyran, Palladian, Eben, tall whites, grays. A lot of this stuff is real. Not that I'm like, oh, because I'm into all that stuff, reading too, but when you get confirmation through Contact, and it's like, oh wow, that's pretty cool, even though this one is not a friendly guy. So some look bad. There's even half cat, half humanoid, and that's actually one of the ones. They're called the Galvarics. They're one of the factions under Lyra. The Syrians, the Lyrans, the Galvarics. These are all under the command, and they follow. So it's like a kingdom. Oh, it is a kingdom, and there's these houses. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick this up. So we'll do like some interaction, so you can kind of get a see. So I got this thing blown up on the wall. So this, actually, I'm gonna blare the light. Let's see how that is Lyra. And if you look closely under those towers, those are like skyscrapers and buildings. And then this is a close-up version of those. This is a close-up version of that city. And you can see some of this architecture here. Like, see how it's like curved and the windows. I'm kind of like being everything backwards. I'm trying to be like a weather person. And over here it's gonna be partly cloudy. Now, their hours of days are 4 hours. Looks like a landing pad up here. This thing right here looks like a landing pad, or it opens up. That's a half cat, half humanoid. That's a Galvaric. Different headpiece. See the teeth, like a cat face. Yeah, so that's just a cool picture. I received that. I received that last year before my pickup. And I was supposed to leave in August for 10 years and then come back. Kind of didn't work out. Just couldn't get a boat to charter me to the coordinates that I needed to be at. Otherwise, probably wouldn't be here. And then I would have been back when all this stuff that's going on now would have been over. And I was told I was going to get a stiff talking to from one of the kings of light for waiting on wisdom. And now, because other things have transpired, I was told I'm going to be in front of a kind of like a court, like a council, where I have to take my works and plead a case in front of the King of Kings because of things that have transpired from contact, and because I get contact from everybody. Well, not everybody. I'm sure if I was in South America on the southern hemisphere, I'm sure because of there'd be other races that would be contacting me. I just have different pictures. Again, depending on where you're at and what the season and the time is, you can receive contact. Like right now, I could receive contact. Do I? I mean, I don't. I mean, my last contact was 17th. Yeah. So yeah. Again, VJ says it wasn't supposed to work out. Yeah, that's how I look at it. But there is a thing. It has been stated many times that I have, because of my choices or inactions, have changed timelines. I've been called the fool that has changed the timeline. Whether good or bad, this is what was told to me. Because it seems like every race they're all trying to, if they're working together, that's great, but they're all trying to take control of where everything's headed in the future. And they do see limited future, because obviously I wouldn't have things in here that prove future proves past. Like they say something and then many months later, to the T, it happens. So that means they have an ability or technology or other means, spiritual or whatever, that lets them see certain things. And I was explaining this on this other show the other time, and basically one good one is, I have a bunch of them, but my favorite is that the earth will ring like a bell, and this was like in August or September, and we'll pull it up in the books as we go through. I'll show you all this stuff. And then in November 11th, on the 11th at like 11:11 or something, it was so crazy, off of Madagascar, because I had those coordinates. That's exactly where under the ocean, that's where the origin point was, and all the seismographs went off, and scientists, and it was in the news and everything. They're like, well, we don't understand why we were picking up these waves where like the earth rang like a bell. And that's exactly what was told was going to happen. Another thing is some of these races do create earthquakes. They've told me that too. Some of your races on this planet, I know the Greeks are an ally and a descendant relation to another race. So it kind of makes sense why everyone looks a little different here and there. So we can go into all that another time, and because that can go into hours of breaking all that down. But don't we all change our own timeline with each decision we make? Yeah, I guess so. I guess yeah. So you're gonna do what you do. You're gonna make the decision. But some things are kind of like preordained. But when you have out of game information, that's why it's dangerous, I guess, with the images and knowing certain contact. Because when you're receiving that, it's kind of like you're getting like I said, you're getting out of game information that can alter your choice of what you were going to do or not do. Where if it organically would have presented it to yourself, then, or if you stumbled upon something and you made a decision. But if you have messengers tell you this or that, it kind of puts you in a kind of a pressure cooker situation of making these decisions where you wouldn't have had this information on your regular earthly 9 to 5, going to the store, this and that. Maybe something predestined would just like pop out, like can of beans and fall off the shelf and hit your foot. You just so happen to, but some of this stuff is so off-worldly and decisions that affect, and we'll go into all that too, because there are clones out there. I know that's going to sound nuts. So like they told you, they did Dolly the sheep and all this stuff back, was the 90s. So they've been cloning a long time, and a lot of races have been cloning a long time. So there could be very well you somewhere else, depending on if you've been taken interest in by certain races, some good, some bad. They have it. That technology's out there. I just need that 2,000-year technology. I believe Doug says, I believe our actions change the course of events, so to say, in different dimensions or realities of time itself, like a ripple, string theory. And some beings have a different connection to time. Timelines have a connection to timelines. I don't know. Yeah, I agree with that too. So right now, it's kind of like layered. So whatever we're doing, there could be offshoot branches, and you can't see it because it's kind of like a spectrum. Just like we only see a very small spectrum of light, where there's all these other spectrums and you can't see them. That's how it is with some of these dimensional aspects. So, but there are straight dimensions. I think it goes up to the 12th. But there are layers, slices in these dimensions that you're basically, things can, and then there are entities that can interact and go into these to affect and change things. And it gets complicated. And again, I'm not a scientist, but with your guys' help, I think we can figure a lot of this stuff out. I'm really glad that I started this, actually. I'm going to get that camera thing so we can have you can actually see everything in order. Like, what we'll do, I think what we'll do is we'll start in the beginning right now and do a couple pages. And just so you can get a taste of what I was receiving in the beginning and go, what? This is so cryptic. Like, what is this? Because I didn't even know it was contact at first. I need to take a drink. Hold on. My throat was getting... All right. So, let's go way back. My first contact ever that I have recorded, because some of the messages I have recently discovered a little catch of, or cache is what they call it, of like, it was like 30 messages that I didn't even remember. I found it on this old device. You know, like you get a new cell phone, or when I think it was like one of the first Apples, and when I was doing a lot of writing on there with my epiphanies, and I actually was saving that on there, and I forgot passcodes. The thing was in a drawer somewhere. I go, oh my gosh, I've got some stuff on here. I gotta edit this whole book, and I got frustrated because I was like, I do it in order. So now I'm like, how am I gonna fit these? I'm gonna have to rewrite this book again because when I first started, I did it with my original manuscript, and it's this. I actually have it here in this wood box, and it's actually I entitled it like 1111, and it's really like on this parchment paper, and it was like sloppy, and it wasn't that great, but I was doing my best, and it got better as I went along, and I was like, okay. I had was it surgery or something, and I had a lot of downtime, so I was like, I'm gonna get a new book, rewrite this, and make it look cool, because this might be historical. Well, it's gonna be historical one day, but that way, if something happens to me, or it's like totally in order, it's totally translated. There's some kind of flow. And well, anyways, so this is the new version of book 1, and part of book 2 is in here. This is actually the second manuscript. This is actually will take us into the present of things that all the way up until like, what was it, a week ago? So my last, you guys want to see a crazy looking alien? That's a crazy looking alien right there. That is a bad guy. That's a bad guy. He's a cloudy. I call him, I don't have a name for him, but he's a cloudy-eyed one. He's not an Eben. He's not, he's got in his nostril thing, he's got an opening up here, but he has cloudy eyes. And so I call them the cloudy-eyed ones, because they haven't identified themselves yet. But they do lie, and they deceive, and they try to trick, and they work with the insectoids. Not good stuff. This was over the winter, and it was a lot of. The trajectory of contact has increased. So I track it, like I said, and I have all those dates, and they're in the master contact list. You'll see it like the curve. I'll eventually do graphs. The curvature of contact is like this 2019. If you took all the years prior and put them together, 2019 blew them out of the water. And the way 2020 is going, it looks like it's going to blow 2019 out of the water. Now, it could all stop. Maybe this is the year contact stops. But with the things going on, with the things going on in the world and things and I highly doubt it. Not unless there's like some kind of like lockdown where communications get blocked, because that'll happen. In the past, you have races of beings will hack the encrypted codes of the others, and they will try to infiltrate or shut down lines. We've had that happen too many times, and that's where or a break in the season where the window's closing and they're running out of time. They're like, they've basically yelled at me, basically, we're out of time. You have to X, Y, and Z. We're out of time. And then you have to wait, 6 months for those transmission. It'll be a new line that's encrypted. But these, before those, the continuity. So it's like many stories, from all these different races and point of views and agendas, and they're kind of like all competing. And for whatever reason, they're very interested in me. Well, I kind of have an idea with some of that reason, but I will let you guys decide as we go along. So this is manuscript 2, the continuation off of that first Manila that old one that first one I did. And this goes up to the present, right? But with this is actually the book 1 manuscript bleeding into book 2, and I haven't got up to the present yet because I have another one of these that are blank, and it's just going to be a set where it continues up until I can catch this up from this, because this is my original second book ongoing Contact manuscript. This book is book 1 and part of book 2, and I'm not caught up. Basically, I'm doing it all by hand. I'm scribing from this to this with images and pasting, and none of this stuff is like, none of this stuff in here is, you might be a side notation where I make a comment where it's like, this has to do with this because of this. But all this is straight Contact. I do my best I can to translate what I get. If I can't translate it, I won't guess. I'll leave it if it's like a code, like I've gotten symbols before. I'll show you some of that right now. Like I can't translate this. This is Lyranese from Lyra, but I don't know if you can see this, but that's all code, but I can't translate it yet. I guess I'm supposed to know this stuff, but it doesn't help when you get wiped and you can't remember things, because that, and that's kind of like the unfair part about it all, is like sometimes when you get messages from beings, they're not people like people here on Earth. It's hard to relate. So the mannerisms, the etiquette, like the way they talk, some of it can be stern, some of it could be light, but it's almost like they expect you to know certain things and rules, and it's like, I'm sorry, I didn't get an instruction manual for that, but I'm going to do as much research as I can. Now, I have told you this before. Well, not on this. This is the first time I'm telling you this on this show. Whatever you see, whatever you say, whatever you think is known. Like, and I mean known. Like, you can be in the middle of the woods, and if you're getting contact on a regular basis, or if you're reading a book and you're not around any kind of electronics, they can make a comment about whatever it is that you're thinking about or viewing without you saying anything, without anything being at like where something could be like, well, someone overheard you, or that electronic, you were typing on the computer, you were hacked, or no. I'm thinking whatever you think, whatever you say, whatever you see, it's like TV for them. It's like if the window's open. Sometimes it's a delay because it sits there wherever it sits until that window's open and they can respond to it. But believe me, they know. It's all known. The good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. So be mindful on what you do, what you say, because it eventually goes out, just like the radio signal, leaving the earth, everything. It's the same. We're light. Is gotta, and they know intentions. They know what you're going to do. Like, so they're limited foresight based upon, I guess, maybe however they compute it, or the trends, or however they compute it. They know what you're going to do or not do. And by getting outside information, sometimes you can, like Doug was saying that, there can be interactions or interferences where it couldn't change certain things. It's a lot of information. I don't want to make this that heavy. We can make a whole show on that kind of stuff and really go into all that. So interesting. Yes, it's all very interesting. It's so cool. I'm going to be honest with you, I used to be scared in the beginning. Well, first I was a little pissed. In the beginning, I used to be like, all right, who's messing with me? I'm like, I don't got time for this. What is going on here? And then some of the things I got freaked me out a little bit, because I'm like, there's no way that anyone would know that. unless it was an intelligence agent, you know. And then I got a little freaked out. And then when it started to become off-worldly or really dark or really light, depending on who it is that was sending it out there, what race, I would say, oh no, you know, what are we going to do? And now I get excited. I like it. Because I know what's going on a little bit. So what I get a question. What do you suppose their agenda is with you, and why they never came down? Also, remember the actual time live call we heard them, and the Transformers. Oh my gosh. So okay, let me touch base on all this. So first question is, what do you suppose their agenda is with you? I believe all these races have all different agendas with me. But because I'm a Lyran Prince, there's something important I'm supposed to do here. And I believe it has to do with knowledge and spreading information. And maybe that's why I'm doing this now. And there's probably, based upon some of these messages, something else I'm supposed to be doing. Plus, go back home and report to the House of Kings. Why they never came down? Well, I've had so many where they flew and hovered over the house, or they've come so many times. We have so many sightings recorded. I think there are rules, and I think there's dangers because of there's technology. You have SAPs, which are secret access projects. The government and a lot of governments they've known stuff, and have been working on projects for a long time. And I really believe, and based upon the evidence I've seen, that they've been working with certain races, not all races, but certain ones, and a lot of dark races. And there's a threat with technology, because if you think that these airplanes are flying around and cars, we're still driving and all this, if you don't think they have technology beyond your wildest imaginations, locked up under lock and key, that's private in these secret projects, in these secret access projects, then you're not in reality. You're in the reality that was created for you to live in, like they're kind of like in their own future breakaway civilization. But to answer that other part of that question is that I think it's dangerous for them, depending on when and what type of ship they're using. There's many different types of ships too. There are flagships, there are warships, there are single ride ships, there are carrier ships. There's so many ships out there. So unless they bring in the fleets, then that's when they're kind of more brave, where they'll fly over. But they're just not going to land, not unless they're a part of some kind of race that's already where they're kind of like flagged as, oh, it's okay, it's that one, and they do their thing. Also remember the actual time live call we heard them. Oh yeah, so I've gotten calls where, I mean, I can dig up some of these files too, where some of these things sound creepy, some of them sound really cool. So yeah, I have actual recordings of different races. Oh yeah, and the Transformers. So this one time, I think it was, what was it? Was it Thanksgiving, or was it Thanksgiving or over the summer? I don't remember, but I do remember this, and I have it recorded down because I also have a journal. So I have these books, right? But then I have a journal. That's what I call my coincidence box. I call it my coincidence box, or my sightings. So any physical sightings, any coincidence box things where like something happens before it happens, and it just so happens to be like a little bit of contact related and things, then I write that down, date and time. It's not contact, but seeing things. I have this thing where it'll flash in my mind. I'll see it, and then it'll happen, but I'll immediately write it down, and then sure enough, it happens, and I'm like, what? So we were out back in my old house, and every time my best friend, he comes to visit, we'll get contact at the same time. It's something about being around each other. It kind of like supernat things happen. And one of these things that happened was all the we're sitting on the patio on the screen porch, and we got contact, or contact was right after this happened. There were like 7 transformers that blew around the whole neighborhood. It was boom, 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 and then all of a sudden, boom, and then the contact said, "Graciously hear us now. The time is at hand. Graciously hear us now." We were like, "What's going on?" But this is back before we knew a lot of stuff, compared to. So it was really a lot of fear in that too, but excitement, but fear. So I got on here, great show. Yeah, I think this is going to be all right, and we'll just grow and we'll just do our thing. And then I got on here. VJ says, "I know every time I see them launch a rocket, it's an insult to us, because why are they still using combustion engines?" Yeah, and you bring up a good point. The rocketry was in World War II. That's where it started. And under Operation Paperclip, all those scientists came over from Germany, and they were working in our military-industrial complex. They worked on projects in White Sands. They worked at NASA. They started up NASA. They started the SETI program. They start all over these things. And today they're still using these tech. Meanwhile, Tesla and all them way back in the day, they suppressed all our technologies. Still using oil and like this. It's almost ridiculous now. But it's ridiculous. The 0 point energy, all that stuff could be totally released, and anti-grav and all that stuff. But that's a whole nother show. Yeah, really, it's a show to keep us in the dark, really, and to fund their real projects, in my opinion. Yeah. So, how much? Okay, right before 9/11 happened. What was it, the day before? There was like how many trillions missing from the the budget from the Pentagon, and all of a sudden all this tragedy happened the next day. Yeah, where do you think all this money's going? They're going to these projects. They've been doing this. We've been in development since we've never stopped since World War II. After we got out of the Depression and all that, and we went into war, and then we built up, and it got all these scientists from over there. Germany didn't. They lost the war, but a lot of them escaped. A lot of them. We didn't get any of their medical technologies. Russia got into half of that's why the whole thing with Russia started too. That's why they became powerful. They got into half of Germany too. We got into half of Germany and their stuff. They got some of the scientists. We got some of the scientists, and that's where everything began. So the question is, where did Germany get all their stuff from? And where all of a sudden, in such a short period of time, considering they were just in World War I and took a licking, where did all this begin? Well, it goes back into Germany. It also goes into a little bit into Japan, believe it or not. And in Tibet and different areas. So again, there are strings connected to a lot of things, a lot of secret projects, there's a lot of bad stuff going on out there. But all that's supposed to end, and a new age is supposed to begin, where there's peace again on the earth until this, I guess, stuff happens all over. History keeps repeating itself. Why do people just chill out? Like, I don't understand why everyone's trying to take over the world all the time or control it. Like, how much, when is it enough? Because then there's a bigger picture at play too. You're talking about empires or hidden empires and hidden factions. And it goes back to contact. Who are these people? Like I'm getting contact. Who are these people that are in control or have power? Where some of the technologies that they get it from, or what did they trade for it, or what's the deals that have been made? And everything ties from out there. Believe it or not, some way, one way or another, it always winds up being some kind of manuscript. Someone wrote, and there was some contact. And look at the whole the Vril Society and the Thol Society and the contact from the Aldebaran system. And they were getting all these communications. And a lot of the technologies that they were getting into Germany were coming out of these. And then eventually Hitler outlawed these secret societies and these different... and all of a sudden, majority of like the Vril, they disappeared. And they say they went off world. Yeah, they were building the Horton fighter and these jet fighters were coming out in World War II. They were already having anti-grav stuff. They were getting contact. They were deciphering these codes, and it wasn't just some guy Alex like me. I'm getting contact from all these different they had teams of hundreds of people, like people with means, money, deep pockets, country, to mass produce, and these factory slaves, and to mass produce what they needed to have their secret access projects. And this is World War II. This is over 80 years ago. It would be unheard of. So there's a lot of stuff. We'll go into all that. I think we did pretty good tonight with just like touching base, and want to let you know. So we'll do the show. We'll get some equipment to make it where you can see some stuff. I know that's going to be a thing. You're going to see like you guys can't read that, right? It's like all backwards and stuff. So we'll get that set up. I'll continue to do shows. I'll post on here when I'm going to do a show. We'll get it to where we'll start in order. We'll go through, because there's so much data. There's years of data. So like I know here's an idea. When I get contact, I'll update you on recent contact. Maybe I'll go like next show, I'll do the last 2 months of up till now. And then we'll start from the beginning. And anytime there's new contact, I'll go and reference current contact. And then I'll continue on. It's like reading a bedtime story of when, like, and now in chapter 3. No, basically you see it, guys, right? Like you'll see like the dates, the code, the dates, the times, the day, the actual code, what's it in, broken down. Anything with a red dot is a question I have back. Sometimes I get them answered right away. Sometimes they never answer them. Sometimes it can take till the next time contact is, and they'll answer it. Now you have to be patient. I know some of this is a lot and confusing, because picture you ever had a friend in school and they're like a foreign exchange student and they have a broken English, but they know a second language, right? Or a third language, or some fourth languages, but they just don't speak English well. Well, picture a lot of races out there as a intergalactic foreign exchange student in the sense when that's why people will go, that sounds real cryptic. No, they don't speak English. You understand? They're actually dumbing themselves down to speak to us. So, because some of these languages, so the way some of their thought, you'll see a little behind their thought process, and some of it's amazing, beautiful. Like I'd imagine having with their back and forth communication. We're the ones with the limited vocabulary. So, so some of it will sound broken. We use a lot of filler words. We have a lot of slang in our language where a lot of language from out there is a word means like 100 words, not 100 words, but it's more in depth. It has meaning. There's substance behind 3 words, and it's meant, and it's serious. There's not a lot of there's not a lot of comedy too in out there. There's not a lot of like joking around. It's pretty serious. There's wars going on up there for millions of years. And it's constant. It's a lot of seriousness. There's not a lot of. Now we'll make some jokes and we'll laugh about certain things as we go through certain things. It's like, what? But it is what it is. You have to blow off some. We're human. We have to blow off some steam here and there. I mean, I have pictures of me very old, like old, like in crazy, like costumes. Some of these costumes I've never even. Not in your craziest, wildest movie that you've ever seen, you see something. It's like beyond Buck Rogers kind of stuff. And it grows. It's cool. I'm really blessed to have this situation happen to a lot of us. Well, not a lot. I mean, there's a lot of people who get contact, I guess, but there's only a very, 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 very small few that I personally know that get contact like what me and my brother get contact, my best friend. And it's hard. I'm looking. There's supposed to be like 12 of us or 11 of us or something. And I don't know. You know, there's a lot of cool stuff out there. I admit there's a lot of cool stuff, but I'm dying to see more images of like, imagine. Maybe it's like Voltron. We all put all our stuff together and it becomes this super beam thing, or I don't know. But guys, I really appreciate it. I know a lot of you will be watching this after the fact, because I have not really. I wanted to see how this goes. I just don't want to do this wrong. I'm just kind of like easing into this. So if this is the first video of many. I don't know if I'll do it every day. Maybe it's every other day. Maybe I'll get feedback from you guys and you're like, hey, nights are the best, or this. I'll squeeze it in whatever you think is what, and I got to work around, like, my family schedule and stuff like that. But yeah, so much to share. And again, we didn't even really cover anything. I was just kind of like laying it out there, kind of telling you a little bit. And, who knows? Maybe I get contact tonight and they go, hey, you know what? You need to stop or you're going to be obliterated. No, I don't know. I don't get threats like that, but I have gotten threats, but, well, yeah. But I got good guys on my side too. So you guys have any other questions or anything before I get off of here? Or anything you want to know, or anything at all, I'm going to give you, it's like Jeopardy. Do, 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 do. All right. So with that, I think we've said it all for one night. And I'll be back in contact with you guys once I receive contact. And obviously I'm going to share with you in between contact. But guys, this wasn't too bad. I mean, we'll get it right. It'll be fun. And then we'll have like guests on and do different things, but it'll be cool. Other than that, I hope you guys have a wonderful night. And, oh, wait, what's going on? I didn't scroll up. Sorry, there are questions. Hold on. Thank you for inviting me to your channel. Be safe. Okay. The audio clip. Oh, the audio clip. You know what? I'll play one audio clip for you. How about you want the be warned? You want to hear that one? That's like one of my favorite ones. That was I got that last November. I'll play that one for you. Ready? Hold up. So I was getting warned about bad contact that I was about to receive, and I didn't know it until I first got contact and I got a message, and then after that message, I received bad contact, and they were giving me a heads up on that. So I will play that for you right now. I like that one. And I gotta find the somewhere. Again, it's on one of the tablets. I gotta pull it up, and we'll get that going. And there's a ton of recordings that we do have with that audio clips and stuff. But this is like I like the accent on this.
Beware the break of audio please transmitting to you. Be warned.
Be warned. So I'll play it one more time. I don't know. Could you hear it?
Beware the break of audio please transmitting to you. Be warned.
The Pleiadians transmitting to you. Be warned. Be warned. I'm not making fun. I just think it's a cool accent. I've never heard any accent like that. Yeah, so again, there are one last thing before I go, so I'm not confused, because people are going to go, the Pleiadians, wait, they're supposed to be good guys, man. Well, yeah, just like on Earth, there are good and bad people. There are good and bad races within a race. So this happened to be a part, and you got to remember there are races that inhabit same solar systems and same multiple races within, and there's struggles. Some solar systems are out there are at war, so, but this group was going to make contact with me. Basically, our guys out there intercepted and knew what they were doing. They're about to contact me, and then they sent an immediate. Normally I would get a contact message, but they went and when they send audio, it's like imminent. It's usually like warning. I'll get like warning, something's about to happen. And they told me directly, Pleiadians are going to make contact, be warned, watch out. So, hey guys, that's it. Thanks again for stopping by, and to the Lyran Connection. And I am your host, believe it or not, Alexander John Tulloch. And I'm here live. And I will see you soon. I'll keep you posted and let you know when the next show is. And then maybe I'll do hey, I'll figure out how to do the call-in thing. And we'll have guests and all that. But have a good night. Be safe out there. And just wash your hands. No, I was kidding. I said I wasn't going to bring up any of that. Good night, guys.